Well, hello and welcome to another episode of this pinball guide. Own your first pinball machine. And what you see right here is already the theme that we are talking about in the next one or two episodes. The flipper fingers. That's right, in this episode and the next episode we will be talking about how to fix something on your pinball machine. This is probably the part that you have been waiting for so long, because many of you have pinball machines, but many of you people have probably wondering, when the hell is he going to teach us something about how to fix certain things on a pinball machine? So this right here is exactly the point. We're going to talk about how to fix things on a pinball machine, starting with the flipper fingers, or flippers, whatever you call them. We will be talking about what can you do when your flipper fingers are lazy, if they don't have enough power anymore. You know, for example, you use this flipper finger to shoot up this ramp right here, but the ball doesn't go all the way around. It always just keeps rolling back, even if you hit the ramp at the exact center and the exact point and whatsoever. So yeah, what can you do when you have weak and lame flipper fingers that don't have enough power anymore? We will be talking about what the reasons could be and anything like this, and also what could be the reason if you push the flipper button, the flipper finger goes up, and then you release the flipper button, but the flipper stays up until the ball hits it or something like this. So yeah, we will be talking about all those kind of problems. So let's get things started. Let's get serious. So in order to know how a flipper finger works, you need to know how the flipper assembly looks like. So this is what the flipper assembly looks like. This is the original manual, but it's the manual for my Demolition Man pinball machine. And I'm going to show you the flipper assembly at the Judge Dredd pinball machine, but it's basically the same setups, the same parts and something like this. So yeah, that's basically what it looks like. You have all the numbers right here, and on this other page you can read which number. You can see the part numbers, you can see the names of everything. So yeah, this is also how you know what kind of stuff you have to order in case you have to replace something and so on. So yeah, let me just show you the flipper assembly now in real life. Okay, so this is the flipper assembly in real life. So when I move the flipper finger, you can see how this works. So basically it goes like this. You push the flipper button, electricity goes into this coil, it starts being magnetic or something like this, and it just sucks in the plunger, and that's how the flipper fingers move. And that's basically the whole secret to the flipper fingers. So yeah, sometimes this spring isn't over here, sometimes the spring is here at this place. I mean, it varies a little bit from pinball machine to pinball machine, but yeah, that's basically what it looks like. So yeah, let's get to the point. Let's get to the point where we fix the flipper fingers. What are some of the reasons why those flipper fingers are lame? Let's get started. Okay, so I hope you can see it because it's a little bit dark, but yeah, I hope you can see it. So this is basically the flipper button, and this could vary a little bit because there are different kinds of flipper buttons or flipper mechanisms out there. So this is one with, I don't know if you call this stuff, it's not a light switch, but it's an opto assembly. So basically what it is, there you have those optos right here, and when you push the flipper button, you push this thing away and this opens the opto, so there is like one little diode or whatever you call this stuff on this side and one on this side. So this one is sending and this one is receiving, you know, like a light barrier or something like this. So usually it's closed, and when you push the flipper button it opens it, and that's how the flippers work. You know, I can also show it to you on the other side. Maybe there you can see it a little bit better. So if you push the flipper button, it opens the opto switch, and yeah. So this could already be the first reason why the flipper fingers are a little bit lame, because maybe the receiving LED or the sending LED or whatever they use on those optos is a little bit dirty. So maybe you should use a little Q-tip or something like this and try to clean the inside of those optos a little bit, trying to get to the diodes or diodes or whatever you call them. So just clean the optos a little bit. This could help a lot already. Now when it comes to some other pinball machines, or maybe also older pinball machines, they are using different switches. So those are opto switches, but some pinball machines, they use regular switches who just are two contacts and who close. You know, this is basically something similar to this right here. You know, so just a closing contact. You know, and sometimes those contacts are a little bit dirty, because I mean there is a lot of dirt inside a pinball machine. I mean, if I take my finger and I rub it right here, yeah, this is how dirty it can get in a pinball machine. So if this dirt gets onto those contacts, this could already be, or this could also be a reason that the flippers don't really work. So you should try to clean those contacts. Not only those ones, but also if you have those contacts here instead of the optos. So how do you clean those contacts? I think they are really sensitive or something like this, so you shouldn't try to use anything like sandpaper or something like this. I think the best way to clean those contacts is if you take a regular piece of paper and you put it between the switch, then you close the switch and you just slide the piece of paper out. You know, this is, I mean, it's hard to do right now with one hand, but you get the idea. Just put a little piece of paper between, or, you know, like a piece of paper that is like this long, and then just put it in, close the switch, push it together. Obviously not too hard so you don't rip the paper, but hard enough that the contact is closed, and then just slide the paper out of it, and this is already a way how you can clean up the contact, and this could also improve the power of the flipper fingers. So what else could cause flipper fingers to get weak? I mean, this is also a flipper assembly, so there is like also a flipper on this side of the pinball machine. So if I move it, you can see it works. So what else? Maybe some people think, hey, the coil, I mean, they are probably really old in some of those pinball machines. I mean, you can see right here, those are smaller ones, but you can see they look pretty old school. Maybe some people think, hey, I just replaced those coils. Maybe that works. Well, in most cases it doesn't work. You know, maybe it works in some cases, but we will get to this later. But yeah, we want to talk about some other things that you can or should test or try to do first. So yeah, if you have this flipper assembly right here, inside this coil there is a tubing. So I want to show you how it looks. So again, this is what the flipper assembly looks like. So this is the coil that I have just been talking about, and this is the tubing. So the tubing is stuck inside the coil, and that's what this tubing looks like. I mean, this is obviously a used one, and they come in different kinds. You know, this is a plastic one, but they also come as metal tubings. So yeah, what are those things for, or what can we do about those things? Well, if you use this pinball machine a lot, you can see it gets dirty. I mean, believe me, this one still looks really nice and clean, but they start to get really dirty and really dark grayish and almost black, mostly inside, not so much the outside but the inside, which is where this plunger moves. So this plunger is moving inside this coil. So the plunger goes inside here and it's moving inside this tubing. So if this tube is really dirty inside, it acts kind of like sandpaper. It just stops the plunger. You know, it works like sandpaper. There is a lot of, I don't know what the word is, I think it's contraption or something like this. You know, it's not sliding inside the tube anymore. It's more rough. It breaks the plunger. You know, it's kind of like if you have a really nice wood floor that you can slide around on it with socks and something like this, but then you try to slide on this wooden floor with sandpaper on your feet. Doesn't work as well. So this is kind of like the same effect that you get when those tubes get really dirty. And I mean, you can try to clean them from the inside, but believe me, that's really tough, and most of the times you really also don't succeed, because it's hard to clean those things from the inside. You know, maybe you think, oh, I just put a little hot water inside it and then clean it with a brush or something like this, but no, it doesn't really work that well. So I think you should really buy a new tube and replace it, because those things, they don't really cost that much. I mean, it's just a few cents. They don't even cost $1 or something like that. So yeah, you should definitely replace them if you see that they are really dirty and if your flipper fingers don't have enough power anymore. So, but you have to be aware that they come in different, well, that's, yeah, also different shapes, but also different sizes. You know, there's a lot of different sizes. So that's why we have this manual right here. So you check out the number. So this is 12A. In this case, this is again the Demolition Man. So 12A, this means it is coil tubing, and this is the part number. And the part number is basically what we are looking for, because when you have an online shop that is selling those pinball parts, they also mostly use the original part numbers from the original manuals, so that you know what to get. You know, and if they don't use it, try to find a different shop that is using those part numbers. And if you don't have any luck at all, then I think the only thing that you have to do is take one of those things and measure it. Measure, you know, the size and the length and stuff like this, and how many times is this thing falling out of my hand. Yeah, just measure this thing, because even if they don't have the part numbers, they definitely have the sizes written down. So this is just a little drawing that I did to give you an idea what I meant about the dirt in the tube. You know, so this is basically the tube, and this right here is basically the plunger moving inside the tube, and this black stuff right here, that's just the dirt. And you know, when the dirt is inside this tube, yeah, there's a lot of contraption or a lot of stuff that just breaks this plunger. So that's what I was talking about. So just so that you get the idea. So yeah, that's the tubing. But what else can we do? So there is another part right here that is really important. So let me just show you where this part sits in real life. So this is where this part is sitting in real life. So it's basically on the opposite side of this plunger. And this thing is called a coil stop, because when the plunger gets inside the coil, it stops the plunger. You know, that's why it sounds like it's metal on metal, because the plunger is hitting this coil stop thing. So let me show you how those coil stops look in real life when it's not inside the pinball machine. Yeah. So yeah, this is basically what a coil stop looks like. I mean, this one is also used and dirty and stuff like that, but you know, just for demonstration. So this coil stop sits right here on the other side of this plunger, and the plunger is, every time you use the flipper, the plunger is hitting this thing, you know, like so. It's always hitting this thing. Usually there is also the tube, and then the plunger is moving inside this tube, and yeah, the coil stop is basically just to stop the plunger. So if those things have been used a long time, I mean, this is metal on metal that we are talking here. So sometimes after a time, those coil stops start to deform. You know, I mean, this one, I mean, it looks still pretty nice. So in case one of my coil stops really starts to look bad, I can use this to replace it. So yeah, those coil stops can start to deform, and this could also cause some problems. Now the first problem that could happen, I mean, I again made a little drawing. So this is basically what an original new coil stop looks like, but then the coil stop could also start to look like this. You know, it starts to get thicker and flat when you always hit on it. So when there is the tube on top of this coil stop, and this plunger is moving inside this tube, and it's moving like this, and this coil stop is thick like this one, then the air needs to go somewhere, and usually the air can also go out on this side where the coil stop sits. But if this coil stop is too thick, then the air has no way to go except backwards, and so you have like a little pillow of air inside this tube that is breaking the plunger, and it's slowing down the movement, you know. So that's also the first problem. Another problem, of course, is when the coil stop starts to look like this. So that's also a sign that you should replace it, because when the coil stop starts to deform, I mean, then the plunger doesn't really get to the coil stop anymore, because the coil stop starts to get shorter. You know, you can see the flat one isn't as long as the new one. So if the coil stop starts to get shorter, the flipper or the plunger basically gets stopped by hitting with this little plastic thing on the back of, I don't know what this thing is called right now, I have to look it up, but it doesn't get stopped by the coil stop the way it's supposed to be, but you get the point. So if the coil stops are worn off, if they start to deform, you should also replace them. Those things also don't cost a lot, and yeah, and again, you know, just like the tube, those plastic tube things, those coil stops also come in different sizes. So this is number 11 right now, and 11 coil stop assembly, there's the number of the coil stop that we want to use. So yeah, that's, the video is getting long already, you know. The thing is this, yes, I can make videos that are longer than 15 minutes, but it's a pain in the ass to export and upload those things. It takes a long time because my upload is really low, slow and low, both things at the same time. So as sorry as that is, but I think I'm gonna end this episode right here, and we're gonna continue with this in the next episode, which is going to be part number 2 of how to fix lame flipper fingers, because I don't want to get this episode too long, but as you can see, there is already a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah, see you in the next video. It will follow soon. Bye.